All right, why don't we dive in here, guys? Thank you for joining. I see a few more folks funneling in. We are also recording the session, so we'll be sending this out to all Mosaic customers after the call. But thank you for joining live or virtually, however you're watching. We're excited to spend the next hour with you. We've got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. We know it's been a minute since we've given you a deep update on the Mosaic HiBob acquisition, so we're going to cover all of that and more today. We've got a great session. I'm Brian Martell. I've headed up product marketing at Mosaic for the last 3 years or so, joined by one of our co-founders, Brian Campbell. You guys all affectionately know him as BC. And of course, Steve, our fearless leader of our CS org. You know these faces, you know these guys. We're also joined by a couple of our colleagues on the HiBob side. They're going to join us on camera a little bit later in the session to cover some HiBob stuff. So great agenda for you guys here today. First and foremost, we want to spend just a couple of minutes talking a little bit about what does the HiBob and Mosaic acquisition actually mean to you, our Mosaic customers. Like I said, I know it's been a minute, so a lot to fill you in on, and excited to share some big ideas, big visions of where this is going. BC is then going to spend about 20 minutes walking through the Mosaic product roadmap. One of the really exciting things about this acquisition is with HiBob behind us, we have access to a lot more resources, more money, more engineers, and all of that means a lot more coming on the product roadmap, which I'm sure all of you will be excited about. Our colleagues on the HiBob side will spend some time introducing you to the HiBob product. They've built this really incredible product, which we hope you guys will find exciting. If you're in the market to upgrade your HR tech stack, or if it just piques your interest as something that might help your organization, we'd love to expose you to that and get you excited. And then we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. I'm sure you all must have some questions. Feel free to drop questions in the chat along the way if you want. We'll try to answer them live as best we can. If not, we'll definitely hit them in that Q&A session at the end. And if for any reason we run out of time, we will address questions offline if need be. One way or another, we will get you answer to your questions. So let's jump in. Why Mosaic and HiBob? So just a bit about the company if you're unfamiliar. HiBob is a rapidly growing, market-leading HR platform, or HCM, human capital management, as you might hear us refer to it. Their company was founded in 2015. They have over 4,600 customers, over 1.1 million customer employees served to date. They've raised almost 600 million in funding from top-tier VCs. The company has won all kinds of industry awards from analysts and industry reports and 5-star G2 crowd ratings, you name it. Over 1,300 employees worldwide, 8 offices globally, including a headquarters in the US in New York City. So as we think about what this means for our Mosaic customers, like I said, I wanted to put this really front and center. We're really excited about this. We think this is great for Mosaic. We think it's great for HiBob, but most importantly, we think this is really great for you guys, the customers that have stuck with us through thick and thin. So 4 big themes that you're going to hear about today throughout this session, but also kind of from here on out, right? We're keeping you front and center. I think like the headline here is what this means for you is that you're getting even, more resources, more product, more innovation, more white glove service. Like this is just really, really good news for our Mosaic customers. And so we're really excited about that. Some of the big highlights here are these 4 big themes. The first one is an all-in-one platform. This is all about unifying FP&A, payroll, and HR in one unified system, giving finance and HR a single source of truth for the people and financial data. The second big theme here is better together. This one's all about automating the mission-critical, cross-functional, high-stakes workflows that exist at the intersection of finance and HR. No silos, no misalignments, no clunky handoffs. We'll talk more about this in a minute because it really is kind of the backbone of the strategic vision here. The third theme is one-stop shopping, and this is kind of the economic buying experience, if you will, or kind of the customer relationship experience, which is this notion of, one vendor, one subscription, one invoice, one point of contact in your customer success manager, one vendor BVA line item to analyze each month. Bringing all this together makes everything simpler for everyone. And then finally, more resources and more support. This is a big one. I've already said it a couple of times. With HiBob behind us, we have a bigger team, more money on the balance sheet. They have a 500 plus engineering org that we can now tap into. So what really all this means for you in a word is more product support, more product releases, more product improvements and innovations, more stability, more roadmap coming faster. So we're really excited about all of this and what it means for our loyal customers. I do want to spend just a couple minutes talking about the kind of the all-in-one value. You're going to hear us say things like that a lot, kind of the all-in-one platform, joint value. Basically, why does it make sense strategically to bring an FP&A platform and an HR platform together into one, right? So for us, the kind of the strategic vision here, the strategic point of view, is the following. It's this notion that finance has to manage this really critical relationship with HR. But there are these major disconnects that exist in this relationship that are hurting both teams and costing the business a lot of money. Things like misalignment on hiring plans and timing, gut feel compensation decisions, unexpected hires, hiring delays. And all of these things result in misallocation of resources, budget overruns, misforecasts, inaccurate attrition forecasting. The list goes on and on. Collectively, these disconnects result in massive inefficiencies, poor planning, and missed opportunities. And at the root of all of it is the fact that HR and finance are working off different systems, different data, different timelines. They're often speaking different languages. They're constantly struggling with collaboration and communication breakdowns. And when they're not aligned, everybody feels it. So how do we fix this disconnect? Well, it starts by recognizing two things. The first one is that finance and HR are not working on separate problems. In fact, they share a lot of workflows, things like workforce planning and hiring and payroll and benefits management and compensation management. The list goes on and on and on, right? These are high impact cross-functional workflows where finance and HR are natural partners. They're two sides of the same coin. They both care deeply about these areas and they're both accountable to outcomes tied to them. The second thing is recognizing that this is bigger than just finance and accounting. Finance and HR, right? People are your, most important asset, but they're also your biggest cost. Typically, 60–80% of cost on your P&L. So you need to get people strategy and people planning right. If you don't, it can introduce an incredible amount of financial and operational risk into the business. So this is really kind of the backbone that we wanted to kind of set the table with, because when we think about why we're bringing these two tools together, it's really to kind of address the problems that live at this intersection of these two teams, help solve these problems, automate these workflows, not just to benefit finance, not just to benefit HR, but to benefit the whole business and help everybody get to their strategic and financial goals. So with that, I want to do a little bit of a drum roll to introduce for the first time publicly Mosaic, which is now officially rebranded as Bob Finance. So fully integrated, fully unified with the HiBob platform. Now one place that connects financial strategy and people strategy, financial planning and people planning. An important note for our Mosaic customers, this is still the same great FP&A product that you love. Nothing is changing, nothing is going away. All we're doing is layering more and more functionality, more and more value onto the platform that you already love. So kind of some of the key takeaways here: one platform, one source of truth to unify finance and HR around all of their people and financial data. HR data now in financial context, so things like headcount plans and compensation impact and BVAs are now viewed through the same lens. Full alignment on people and budgets, so hiring plans and people costs and kind of all that stuff is sort of perfectly aligned. Everybody's in sync. Everybody's working off the same workflow end to end. And what this really does is gives both the finance and HR kind of the opportunity to sort of take a bigger strategic seat at the table, if you will, and kind of have bigger impact across the organization. So what you're going to see next is just more value, more functionality. We hope this vision of kind of bringing these two tools together to sort of solve for that intersection of that pizza pie graphic you just saw. Hope this resonates, because this is really what's going to drive everything that you're going to see next. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to BC to walk us through the roadmap.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, let's dive into the product synergies with HiBob and just the product roadmap in general. You jump to the next slide. I'm going to start with just a quick note that obviously what we're sharing with you today are plans, and as we know, plans change. So please understand that this is not a commitment to what we're building, but we are committed to delivering, continued product innovation. So First, I want to take a brief moment to talk about the transition from Mosaic to Bob Finance. As part of that acquisition, we did have to invest R&D resources into making that a successful transition. So we're going to walk through that right now. But with the go live around the corner, all those R&D resources are now back to focusing on improving the product for everyone. So I realized there was kind of a pause there in some of the feature work we were doing, but we're back at it. So if you want to go through the next two slides here. So this is what a HiBob user would see. And so if you're inside of HiBob, you'll see the product dropdown and you will see a finance option, and that will take you to Mosaic, which is now Bob Finance. And inside of Mosaic, you're going to see the rebranded kind of Bob Finance experience. So the colors, the fonts, the formatting, everything is kind of in the HiBob style, but otherwise everything is effectively the same. Behind the scenes, there was a lot of work on the infrastructure, testing, security to get up to HiBob standards. HiBob standard has world-class DevOps and security. And so, it was better than Mosaic's, to be honest. So getting up there was definitely an effort. Now that we are there, it should actually speed up releases, speed up stability, and kind of improve everything across the board. So very excited for our R&D team to take advantage of all of that. There is another update, which is that we are changing our domain name from @mosaic.tech to finance-app.hibob.com. The existing URL domain will just redirect you, so you don't need to change anything. If you go to app.mosaic.tech, it'll just redirect you. But otherwise, everything is the same. So existing customers, the same login page, all of that, it'll be rebranded, but otherwise everything will work as it did before. And so this is really kind of all HiBob-centric things that took a lot of our R&D resources over the last 6 months. But now that it's behind us, we are back again to focusing on product work. So excited to dive into that next. So if we jump to the next slide here. So the first thing I want to walk through is our headcount modeling. So this has been on our roadmap of things to do for a long time. Headcount planning is critical to any FP&A platform. So it's something we prided ourselves in, but there was a lot we wanted to do for it. Obviously with HiBob, there's just a renewed focus on kind of headcount planning. So this benefits effectively everyone, and excited about rolling this out shortly. So we're going to walk through some things that have already been done and some things that are coming soon. So jump through this one. The first thing is multiple forecasted changes per employee. So this is already rolled out, and this basically lets you take an existing employee change and have multiple stacks. So over many years, or compensation raise, then department changes, whatever it might be. So for bigger, more complex headcount planning, this is a huge win to throw in there. And if you jump to the next one, we have also rolled out formula improvements that let you now filter on effectively any column that's in the headcount planner. So if you wanted from the income statement or balance sheet, if you wanted to filter on start dates, if you wanted to filter on a compensation amount or title or whatever it might be, you can now do that with additional filtering controls. And so this is the first of 2 steps to improving our formulas, and it'll all kind of tie together once you see the rest of this. So then we have, and this is starting to get, I think, a little bit more interesting here, which is now the ability to bring in more fields from your HRI system, or specifically bring in fields from your employee data set into the headcount planner. So if you have fields that you've joined on that you want to forecast by, being able to now enable those and bring those into the planning world. So this isn't rolled out yet, but it's the thing we're working on actively right now. And initially, this is going to be rolled out for HiBob connections and for CSV upload. We have started some of the work on the general, but there's more to do there to make that flexible enough to work for everyone. But initially, we're rolling this out for HiBob and CSV upload. But basically, you're going to be able to now bring in additional columns and bring those into the headcount planner. And then after that is jumping to letting users create custom fields in the headcount planner directly. So if you wanted to just create a new field that is a free text or a numeric field, let's say you have a payroll tax percentage you want to type in per person, or you have a benefits amount that you know exactly what it is per person, letting you create that column and type that in for existing employees as well as forecasted employees, and then using formulas to actually sum that up and pull it through. Or if you didn't want to type it in manually, letting you create calculated fields directly in the headcount planner. So again, you could do something a little bit more dynamic to say, if the subsidiary is Canada, then X percentage. If subsidiary is US, then Y percentage. Really kind of letting you add a lot more robustness in terms of how you're calculating. And I view this specifically as per employee forecasting kind of done the right way. So you can really forecast each individual exactly how you want them to be in a lot more control than before, and then sum those values into the income statement and balance sheet. And if you jump to the next slide here, so this, oh, sorry. Oh yeah. So that was it. That was it. Sorry. And
Yep.
so for the custom fields, the final step here is adding to our formula is the ability to sum and do kind of aggregate functions on all these new numeric fields. So the first set of work, which is already rolled out, is basically improving the filtering experience. And now this is letting you sum any of those fields, specifically fields you're bringing in from the HRIS or custom fields you've created. So if you've created a field called benefits amount or a payroll tax amount, you can now sum those fields directly and bring those into the income statement and balance sheet. And then finally, auto-saving on the headcount model. So the headcount is the only component that requires autosave. And so for more quality of life, but also streamlining some of the calculations downstream, auto-saving on the headcount planner. So as you're doing your work, as long as all the fields that are required are there, it'll start auto-saving. So all of this comes together in terms of like a grander vision of making the headcount planner incredibly robust and kind of world-class in terms of what you can do with it and how you want to plan it. And being able to flow that into the rest of the financial model. So really excited about that, and that's going to benefit everyone across the board. All right, getting into reporting. So jump to the next slide. I'm hoping all of you have seen it yet. If you haven't, you should have access. But the Google Sheets add-on is an awesome, awesome tool. One, just getting data into Google Sheets. That's refreshing, so you can do ad hoc analysis or whatever you want to do. But really the value and really the exciting thing here is the work that went into making the reports really configurable. So this is actually the phase one of a multi-phase approach. So phase one is doing it in Google Sheets. Phase two is bringing it back into the application. And the reason we did that was in Google Sheets, you don't really need to worry about the front end. You just have to put the numbers in the cells. So all the back-end calculations, all the configurations for creating these reports however you want to is there. And it's incredibly powerful. So I highly encourage you to get in there and play around with it. It's really exciting, and it's what's coming into the application soon. If you jump to the next slide, some of the benefit of this is really being able to add multiple columns, create variance columns, set the calculation however you want it to be able to really configure at a metric level exactly what's showing up where across the application, have multiple layers of your columns. You can have forecast with months underneath, actuals with quarters underneath, really getting into the nitty-gritty of exactly how you want to show your model. So really excited about this. Please get in there and check it out as a preview to what is coming in the application. So on the next slide here, you'll see the bit of work that is left to do is really moving all of that into the application and revamping our reporting experience so you can really build custom reports exactly how you want them to be. And of course, with the work that we already rolled out in terms of being able to save report templates, as soon as you invest the time to building these out to your desired kind of look and feel, you can save them and reuse them very easily. All right, diving into data management. So the first thing on here, which is ready to be rolled out, is multi-currency. So multi-currency control, all of you know we had kind of an exchange rates table before if you had multiple currencies, but you couldn't actually control the currencies that were showing up there. So we were kind of auto-detecting them based on what's in your general ledger. But if you had additional currencies that were in your billing data in Salesforce, somewhere else, you couldn't actually see those currencies that we were bringing in. So now with the currency table, one, we're detecting more currencies, but two, you can manage them. So you can add currencies manually. And as soon as they're there, you can see all the exchange rates for those and manage those however you see fit. The other benefit here is for non-USD currency-based companies. The editing of the exchange rates didn't quite work the way you expected it to before. That is all resolved now. So for non-USD companies, the exchange rate experience is going to be much better, much cleaner, the same experience that our US customers have been getting. We are also working on calculated fields and data management. So the calculated fields experience inside of Metric Builder is super powerful, super robust. I know a lot of people get a ton of value out of that. But every time you build a new metric or you want a field on a metric, you have to do it on a per metric basis, which obviously there's a lot of times you might have product groupings or deal size groupings that you want to do across all of your Salesforce data. So now you can do it directly on calculated fields directly on the data sets. So this could be Salesforce data, it could be your general ledger data, it could be employee and headcount data. Very easy to build calculated fields in the same way that you can in Metric Builder and use those throughout all metrics. As soon as you build a field, you are now able to use it in any metric that's coming off of that data set. And we're going to jump to AI here. I'm going to touch on two things that we didn't actually create slides for, but I think are worth calling out, which is one, we did obviously spend a lot of time with a direct connection to HiBob. So instead of using the third-party connection merge to bring in the HR data, we built obviously direct connection with HiBob. And two, We are also rolling out our Sage Intacct native connection as well. So we are going through Fivetran. There were some data issues with Sage Intacct. So we built a native one to improve that. So that's being rolled out as well. And I will note for the HiBob native connection, much more robust headcount data in terms of actually seeing the full history of employees. So you can see how employees change over time, as well as kind of additional columns that we're bringing in. So both of those connections are much improved from what they were before. All right, so on to AI. AI is a huge theme in HiBob, and something that Mosaic was already working on, but it is just triple down at this point for AI and definitely into 2026. So the first thing we're rolling out is a true AI chatbot that is generically able to reference and pull all of your metric data and answer any questions you have of it. So the way this actually works is it effectively, as you ask questions, it effectively reads through your metrics catalog to figure out which metrics it should use based on your question, and it knows how to filter and group those metrics, how to change the date ranges, returns the results, and actually does that synthesis on top. So incredibly powerful. It's super awesome to play with, and excited to roll this out for everyone. And really, it's kind of, again, the way I view it is it's kind of what an analyst would actually do. Like an analyst, if you ask them questions, they go open a blank canvas, pull in metrics, filter, group them, find the answer, and return the result. So tip of the iceberg, really excited about this. There was a ton of infrastructure built into it on the AI side. So we're going to start rolling out a lot more soon, and I'll touch on that in a minute. So one other aspect of this is, as we realized as we were building this AI, there's a number of features we wanted to build both for users and also for AI. So there's a lot of similarities here as we're rolling things out to improve everything. One is metric management. So Mosaic historically has had a number of default metrics out of the box, and users get in there and build their own metrics along the way. But after a while, you end up having like 300 plus metrics in your metrics catalog, and there's lots of versions of the same thing. There's ARR and contracted ARR. There's net dollar retention period over period. There's a lot of kind of close similarities with these things. And so what we're letting users do now is hide metrics they don't want to see. So maybe their business doesn't look at contracted ARR, or maybe it doesn't look at ACV. Hide metrics they don't want to see. And that hides them both from users and from AI, and then also be able to favorite metrics that are kind of what they want their business to focus on. So if there's kind of, let's say 20 or 30 key metrics that you want your business to really key on, it's ARR, it's net dollar retention, whatever it might be, you can star those. And so users will actually see those as favorites. And so when people are in there building canvases or playing around, there's kind of a natural steering of users to the right metrics, but also AI will weight those higher when it's doing analysis to make sure you're getting kind of the correct answers. Okay, so feature theme for 2026. So some of the stuff we talked about is going to be rolled out in Q4 or early 2026. But there's kind of some broader themes for all of 2026 that I want to get into. And so if we jump to the next slide, I'm not going to show any real mocks for this, but I just want to touch on them kind of verbally here and talk about it a little bit. So the 5 high-level themes here are usability and self-service, AI automation, ERP flexibility and expansion, financial model improvements, and HiBob scale. So with the usability and self-service, there's a number of little things that we've wanted to improve for a long time, and we hear feedback from our customers all the time. So please continue to give it to us. But I will tell you out of the gate, there's a number of things in terms of Canvas and formula usability improvements. A number of things we kind of touched on already, which is custom fields on data sets, but also just being able to control what fields are being brought in from Salesforce, from NetSuite, from whatever system you're using, control the fields being brought in, and also kind of enable them throughout the data sets. And being able to build more advanced custom data sets. There's a lot there we want to do. And the whole goal of this is not just usability, but really put more power and more control into our users' hands so they can really do whatever they want, whenever they want, and make sure they can get the job done without having to reach out to a CS rep or a data ops person on the HiBob side. On the AI automation, as I mentioned, this is a huge push internally. And there's a number of things we want to do just kind of in the flow of work. So when you're on a blank canvas, being able to kind of automatically generate a canvas from kind of a text input. Same thing for a metric. I want to build a metric that does X, Y, and Z and see if it can generate it for you, at least get you started, get you 80, 20% of the way there. But there's more interesting things we want to get to as well, which is when you're refreshing your model, instead of just showing you the reconciliation wizard, actually having it kind of do a first pass of it. So you kind of streamline some of those steps and really take action. But I would say the bigger thing beyond just kind of streamlining actions within the Bob Finance platform is what they're calling the system of productivity. And this is, to me, the really exciting part of what we can do with Mosaic data, now Bob Finance data, which is you have all of your data streaming in every day from your ERP, from your HR system, from your CRM, Snowflake, wherever it is. And yes, you can have AI sit on top of it and give you kind of interesting analysis. Okay, that's valuable, that's cool. And you can ask it questions and it can return answers. And that's what we're rolling out now. But we also have your goals. We have your goals, we have your forecast. We know what you're trying to get to as a business. And so being able to actually set, hey, our goal, this is our 2026 goal by the end of the year. And every single day as data is streaming in, actually AI being able to tell you, hey, you're off track, you're on track. If you're off track, here's where you're falling behind. Here's areas on the sales you need to focus on. Here's areas on expenses that are going over. Really having almost like an AI analyst every single day, kind of assessing where you are and giving you proactive kind of tips and advice on like what to change and improve. So that to me is the really exciting thing about not just helping you use Mosaic better or do things automatically faster, but really helping you as a business like understand, hey, where do I need to look? Where do I need to invest? Where do I need to tweak? And actually go change that productivity in the business in the real world. So excited about that one. ERP flexibility expansion. We've wanted to do this for a long time, but we want to allow uploads to ERP data. So this could be generic, or it could be like you have an additional, historical file you want to load in, allowing you to mix ERPs, QuickBooks, and Xero. We see often people move on to NetSuite, but they still have historical data in QuickBooks, kind of blending those together. But importantly, there's a lot of new ERP systems in the market. So really Campfire, kind of the next generation, they're really exciting. We've had a number of customers talk about, wanting to move to them. So making sure they can stay with Mosaic because they've expressed that to us. So that's a big focus for next year as well. And finally, financial model improvements are kind of a key part of what we've always been doing here at Mosaic. Obviously, we've focused the last year on income statement improvements and headcount, as you saw already. And so I would say over the course of 2026, there's a lot of improvements we want to make across the general financial model, top line, and balance sheet specifically. Just more flexibility, more control, more streamlined kind of processing, quicker calculations, and just being able to reference more things. So excited about continued financial model improvements. As soon as we're done with the headcount piece, that's the next wave of work. And finally, HiBob scale. So HiBob, obviously, global organization, they do a ton of things really well. One of the big things that we're stepping into in 2026 is improving our permissioning system. So getting to a true row level permissioning system so that you can actually set for a user, I want them to only see sales department data, or I want them to only see the UK subsidiary, whatever it is. You can basically configure exactly what they can and can't see, and automatically data is filtered and kind of as soon as they log in. So the goal here is really streamlining that permissions, adding a lot of confidence, and the ultimate goal is enriching that collaborative experience so you feel more confident bringing more people in, be it regular employees, be it department level leads, whatever it is, they can come into the application and see exactly what they're supposed to see. So that's a big thing, but there's also a number of microservices we want to leverage to really improve the overall experience in Bob Finance. So that's everything. Super excited about all the work. Again, I know we spent a lot of time heads down with the acquisition and kind of getting things ready to go, but we're back now. And actually, as Brian mentioned, the resourcing we're being given, it's really a commitment to growing Bob Finance. So we've already added a number of engineers across the world, and they're phenomenal. And so we're already seeing our momentum improve. And with all the infrastructure improvements, we should only see that increase. So excited about the velocity and excited to kind of continue releasing new feature work for everyone.
All right, thank you, BC, and Josh, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I mean, again, it's great to start meeting the Mosaic folks. I think like just throughout the course of this intro, it really, again, acquisitions are a daunting experience, an exciting experience, but I think that this is maybe a Disney acquires Marvel kind of scenario. So I was actually thinking maybe of like, how do we feel about like the Bob Finance Avengers Assemble kind of a thing? Maybe I'm geeking out a little bit too much, but again, I think this acquisition is the start of something great. Again, there's so many examples of how things just like they take off when you have like that bigger backing behind you. So really excited to see what this chapter has in store. But yeah, I'll just kick off with a little bit more about the HiBob product. I know, Brian, you've talked about like the synergies around Bob Finance and the rest of the Bob ecosystem, but if you want to just let me walk people through. But I think the really when you look at FP&A, when we think about the employee journey, we're thinking about it from hire to retire. And what really is the catalyst of this entire journey is the planning phase. So that FP&A phase, how much money, how much resources are we allocating to this entire journey? That really is the catalyst that then starts your entire HR journey. How many people are we hiring? How are we onboarding them? the engagement, and everything else that follows. It all starts with Bob Finance. But within the HiBob ecosystem, we're trying to do that entire flow from end to end, that hire to retire entire journey. So when that starts with planning, with the headcount planning, you're talking about your applicant tracking system, your ATS system, the actual onboarding process itself, the data that flows straight from your ATS into your onboarding, be able to onboard employees much easier in a more seamless and engaging way. Then on day one, being able to post things internally, such as shout outs, being able to create that employee engagement, it flows to then to their first paycheck. So having that native payroll option as well, integrated in the system, connected as well to your finance system, all in the same place. Your learning and development, your performance management, the compensation systems, all of this becoming a single source of all the information you need around the people in your company. I think that that's the true vision, is how do we enable this journey from start to finish? And if we want to look at the entire suite of offerings, of the products that we're offering, we're looking at the core product, which is what we call core HR, or Bob as it's more affectionately known. That's the core product of which everything is run. That's the engine, that's the source of truth, that's your system of record of all the employees in the company. And what plugs into that is we have our payroll suite of products, such as our payroll hub, which connects various other integrations or other payroll players. We have our own UK and US payroll offerings. That's the first bucket. Then we have our talent. How do you bring in the best talents, retain them, and grow them within your business? So your hiring system, your performance review system, and your learning and development system. That will also plug into that core HR product and be able to feed data in both directions. Then we have our original planning suite, which was around workforce planning and compensation. Again, different to the way that Mosaic / Bob Finance is doing things, but again, it also ties into that world of HR planning, compensation, where HR meets budget. So not necessarily defining the budgets themselves, but when the budget is already defined, such as in a compensation cycle, how much money do we have available, you can then manage that compensation process within HiBob. And then finally, we had the missing piece of the puzzle, which was Bob Finance. How do we connect within a lot of white collar companies, your most valuable asset being your people, to your HR system, and make sure that it works in a single system and flows seamlessly from one to the other. And if we want to, and at the bottom we have some other add-ons, but I'm not going to touch on them. But if we're thinking about what sets HiBob apart from the other players in the industry, I think we've nailed it down to three key areas. The first being the flexible configuration, so the ability to set the system up, make sure that it is fit to your needs. And I know Sean will be able to demo this in a moment. The second is the intuitive user interface, and I think this is one of the areas that we are the most proud of, that this is probably the easiest platform to use. It's the Instagram of HR, as one of the top analysts has called us. It's very user-friendly, very intuitive, and not clunky. It's able to do complex processes with the ease of a very seamless system. And then the final one is the unified platform experience, so having all of these different capabilities in the same place. So with these three things together, we're really able to deliver a lot of value to our customers. And in the ecosystem that we play in, there's, again, a lot of other players in the space, but we have the ability to integrate with a lot of players. It's not always about being able to do everything for everyone. It's not like, oh, you have to give up on certain systems that you are more attached to. We do have a ton of integrations, whether it be payroll, whether it be HR and recruiting, collaboration tools. We are able to play very nicely with a lot of these players in the space. And yeah, now I'm going to hand it over to Sean, because I've talked a big game, and I think it's time to put our money where our mouth is and just be able to back it up with the awesome product that it is.
Amazing. Thanks, Josh. I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see this still? Amazing. So welcome into Bob. Now, first thing that you are going to notice here is that the platform is brandable. I do have it branded as HiBob for today. However, I'm not an artist. You're able to make this look like your own company, your own logos, backgrounds, color schemes, and so on. Second thing to mention out of the box with Bob is that access to data within the platform is controlled by the permissions that you set. So a little bit different than some other HRIS systems where maybe you log in one way as an employee, but you've got a separate way as an admin, a third way as a manager. We don't do that. You're going to log into the platform. I'm viewing as an admin, so in terms of adding new things, updating things, I can do all of that. For standard employees, they just won't see anything that they don't have access to or the ability to do. Now, right at the top, one of our most popular features is the ability to post. And we've got 3 types here. You've got a shout out, which is great for any general news or announcements. You can poll employees. You can also give someone a kudos, which is a great way to shout someone out that's going above and beyond. Now, for any of these posts, you can pick the audience. Could be everyone, a specific location, department, and so on. We do also have an optional AI helper here if you do want some help writing the message as well. With any of these, it's a simple @ tag, very similar to social media. So you can tag the employees. You can even tag against company values. So maybe you're giving someone a kudos relevant to a value. You're able to do that with Bob, and you can even report on it. With the posts, we also have integrations with both Slack and Microsoft Teams. So you can post in Bob once. It'll flow over to the channel of your choosing. And this way you won't have to double enter the message or anything. And these are also available on the mobile app as well. Everyone's going to have easy access to their profile, as well as the ability to request time off relevant to what has been assigned to them. And with Bob, there's no limit to the number of time off types. You can have different policies, which will be the rules. All of that's going to be unlimited within the platform. You're able to link out to either other areas of the platform or even things like self-service workflows from this quick actions on the right. Examples that we're looking at for today, we have the company time off calendar, company docs. So Bob as a platform is unlimited document storage. You've got the company side for things like policies, handbooks, code of conducts, etc. You'll have the employee side for things like their resume, PIPs, any documentation around the employee themselves. Last example that we're looking at here is a self-service address change workflow. An employee can come in and change their own address. That can be subject to notification or approval. Then a task list is going to trigger to the appropriate parties in case maybe they need to fill out a form in payroll, or maybe there's an admin that needs some info about this. This is all going to be up to you. And of course, Bob is going to look at your people and what's going on within the org. So we can see the birthdays on the homepage. We can see who's out and why, whether that's based on PTO, their birthday, and so on, or any events or holidays for the regions as well. There are a number of different regional holiday calendars in Bob. You'll notice it's flagging that on Monday, it's going to be Labor Day for our Australia site, but you can also customize these. So if you have all hands meetings, department-wide meetings, other internal events that you want to pop up here, either for everyone or for that location, you're able to do so within the platform. It's also going to flag things like new hires and anniversaries as well. For everything that we've looked at, this is all available both on desktop and on mobile, and you can toggle these different items on and off. So for some clients, they might turn birthdays off on the homepage, but they are typically always leaving on things like new hires and work anniversaries because that's always relevant to the org and relevant to their world of work. So from the homepage, we're going to go and take a look at the directory and the org chart next. With both of these, the great thing is that they're going to auto update as changes are made throughout the platform. So there's no version control with Bob. There's no, oh, I did it in core, but it's not in comp. If you make that change, it's going to radiate throughout the platform as one platform there. Second thing to mention, right now we're viewing as an admin, everything in Bob is controlled by the permissions that you set. So I can see things like adding a new hire, downloading the info that we're looking at. For standard employees, those items aren't even going to pop up. With the directory view, this is also going to be very flexible. So you can move columns around, make them wider, shorter, whatever you need. In one click, you can go into the column picker and then pull in other fields, custom fields, any data that you may think is relevant, and even add formulas on top of that. So maybe you concatenate fields. Maybe we run some different regressions off of this info here. You're going to have a number of different options. The reason why we include it right here in the directory is because you can easily save data as a report right from here. So if you've changed the view, you've added some different filters, added some different fields, and you know you want to come back to it, maybe even schedule that out to different stakeholders. You're able to do so right from here. It's also going to give you bulk actions. Now, this could be one person, multiple, even everyone. And then we can do things like request read approval on a document or e-sign on a document from employee. We do have our own e-sign built into the platform for you as well. We can trigger task lists about employees. Maybe there's a new field we want everyone to fill out. Maybe there's a new training we want people to take. We can send that out in just a few clicks right from here. And then for the org chart, it's going to be very similar. It's going to auto update with information. You'll have the same filter options where you have the quick ones at the front and the advanced ones where you can use other fields and custom fields on the back. With the download for the org chart, it'll be image options. Most popular one is the PowerPoint slide. So if you ever use org chart views in department-wide presentations, all hands meetings, anything of the sort, you're able to do so, and it will hold any of the filters or view changes before the export. Right now, we're looking at today's view of the org chart. We do also have a point in time. So if you did want to see what it looks like over time at the company, you can select this and have it update for you. You can even pick what the visualization is going to look like here. So right now we are viewing this by just the manager hierarchy. We could do this by their manager's manager, their HRBP, custom roles like dotted line manager or squad lead, scrum lead, if your types of orgs have those. Any of those custom relationships can be built in the Bob and displayed throughout and in the org chart as well. You can also decide if you're going to color these cards by anything to make it look pretty. Right now it's grouped by department. We could also have a nice clean look at the bottom, but you'll have a number of different factors, including custom fields that you can split this by. You can even pick what info is going on the org chart cards. So maybe we don't need the pictures if this is going externally, and then up to 4 fields of info that are going to be displayed here as well. Awesome. Just going to check if there's any questions in the chat. No, looks like we're good.
Nope, you're good. Yep.
Awesome. Next thing that we'll take a look at for today is going to be the onboarding within the platform. And that is going to be a type of workflow in Bob. With the workflows, again, very scalable. You can start from scratch. You can duplicate these. You can edit the starting points that we give you. But again, there's no limit on the number of workflows. There's no limit on the number of custom fields or reports. All of this is going to be up to you. Now, the new hire side, when we're looking at this new hires and onboarding, this is what the admin is filling out about a new person joining the company. If you're either using the Bob applicant tracking system, or if you're partnered with one of our over 20 pre-built integrations as well, any of those fields map between them, and we do have custom mapping, will then come in and populate the fields in the new hire flow for you. And any documents from the recruiting process will flow over into Bob as well. From there, it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to invite them with an onboarding session? We actually have a preview of what the onboarding will look like as well. Great thing with the Bob onboarding, you can send this out before someone's first day. This allows both them and your team to get a jump on things. What will happen is this will go to their personal email. They'll click on the link, then they're going to get started. You can write the templates in specific languages if these are regionalized. The employee can switch between languages if needed. Then they'll move forward. First thing is going to be a customizable onboarding screen. You can change the messaging, the header, the picture in the middle. In lieu of a picture, this could also be a video. So if you have an onboarding video, if you have a welcome video for your organization, you're able to include that here. Once the employee reviews that, they're going to move forward and start giving info about themselves. So first thing is going to be a picture. Then they're going to be filling out info, and you'll be able to decide what's going to be filled out here. So what fields are going to be included, what's not going to be included on the template, what's going to be mandatory, like any fields with an asterisk, and so on. Again, these are typically regionalized by clients as well. So this is my US onboarding template. We've got social security number under the identification. For Canada, this could be SIN number. For the UK, this would be NI number, and so on. But this is all going to be up to clients and what they want. Then we're just asking for other general info, bios, food preferences, maybe equipment that they would like relevant to their position. Then we're moving in the documents. So you can ask them to upload documents. You can also ask them to read and approve or use the e-sign within Bob for documents as well. You can have multiple prompts for all of these. So if they need to upload 2 different types of documents, if they need to, sign 4 different agreements, they can do all of that during onboarding. And again, we're unlimited document storage, we're unlimited e-sign templates. You'll never run out of space with Bob. Excuse me. Last step in the onboarding here, it's going to bring you to this welcome screen. And then at the bottom, you can choose to include this people you need to know. This is anyone that they should know from, let's say, day -1. So things like C-suite, co-founders, senior leadership, anything along those lines. This can also be role-based. So you'll notice for Darion here, it's flagging that he is this employee's buddy. If it was the HRBP, it would say your HRBP, and so on. Now, this onboarding session, this is what the employee is completing during their onboarding. For all of the different to-do items, whether that's the employee doing it, other stakeholders, that's going to be where the tasks come in Bob. So everyone will have their own task page. This will also be available on the mobile app and on Slack and Microsoft Teams, so they can stay up to date with what's going on. It'll give them the info about the task. They can see any of the info here. Very notably, we do have this manage tasks option for admins and managers. So you'll be able to see everything that's going on based on the time frame and any filters, and then even have bulk actions here. So this could be a couple tasks, could be all of them. But then with Bob, you can do things like assign, unassign, or reassign in bulk, marking them as complete or incomplete in bulk, even nudging, sending that gentle reminder to people to please review what they have to do, or canceling if things were sent out, by accident. These are going to be very flexible in the setup. With Bob, we are a no-code setup platform. I've been here 5 years. Everything that I set up in my account, I've done myself. There's no back-end console secret or anything like that. But in something like onboarding, you'll have a number of different task type options. So to-do items, sending out emails to different stakeholders, even external or alias, even things like feedback surveys. Maybe, someone's joined, we want that 30-day feedback from the new person onboarding, or a 60 or 90. These can also auto-populate info, save you and your team a lot of time. So from the equipment that was selected in the onboarding flow, that's going to auto-populate who that employee was, what they selected, send that to their IT admin to order that. And we've set this up so this goes out automatically 7 days before that employee starts. So it's going to give IT enough time to see what that employee ordered and either grab it from the supply closet, order it, whatever they need. Please know with tasks, they don't just need to be for onboarding. You can do it around any other change where you have those to-do items. So maybe someone has changed their address. We've got some follow-up items for them or other stakeholders. Maybe you want a birthday reminder for managers around, hey, this employee's birthday is coming up. Please get them, a gift, a cake, something like that. Things around internal mobility, offboarding. There's a number of different ways that you can use tasks within the platform. Last thing that we're going to look at for today is just going to be the reporting and the analytics within Bob. Same thing here, unlimited reports. We'll also have custom dashboards within the analytics. You'll have personal folders for your eyes only, and you'll have company reports where access here is controlled by the permissions that you set. There are a number of different types of templates within Bob. You can, of course, start from scratch, pick any fields or formulas you need, but then we'll have reporting around things like audits or changes, EEO1s for the US, your documents, but most notably, a lot of templates around different types of employee data. So this will give you a starting point for the type of data that you're looking for. You can then pull in other fields. The report view here, you're going to notice it's very similar to the directory. That's on purpose. We want to keep that UI consistent, easy to use. Same thing as the directory. We can change the view. We can pull in any other fields, any formulas as needed. Great thing with Bob, though, we do have export settings on the reporting. So if you're importing to another platform or you're integrating via SFTP or S3, you can change the export date. You can also change the names of the fields, even add a duplicated field if that other provider requires an identifier twice. This is going to save you a lot of manual entry on either importing or trying to do custom integrations. We also have the Ask AI that'll give you an extra layer of what your data has and what that means for your org. So depending on what you ask it, it could be a chart that comes up, it could be a graph, it could just be the answer to the question, but you'll be able to see what it's giving you. The charts and graphs are dynamic here, and you can even download them. So you'll have those extra layers of, what this data means for our org. Last thing before I hand it back to the team is the dashboards. These again come out of the box with Bob. There will be some pre-built ones that just come out of the box for you. You can add as many custom ones as you would need as well. Most of the dashboards, at least out of the box, are going to have a theme. The one we'll look at for today is around company growth. Every dashboard is based on the time frame that you select. We've got custom ranges. We've got presets to make your life a little bit easier. Then it's going to go into the reporting itself. Growth is going to look at things like your headcount and company growth rate, the total number of people that have joined or left the company, even your manager to employee ratio. These blue boxes that you're seeing at the bottom of the report, this is Bob being smart enough to read the data for you and give you some insights based on what it notices. For all of these, they are dynamic. So when I hover over them, we'll see the different values. We can turn different key items on and off right from here. And in one click, I can add filters to this report, download the whole thing or the image, or even adjust the settings. So maybe we want a different time interval. Maybe we want a different x-axis entirely. That's up to you. Maybe you want to view this by location instead of department. Maybe it's going to be a donut chart instead of a graph. It's going to be very flexible in terms of viewing that data in Bob. You can dive in and get the breakdowns. So we've got a month-over-month report broken down by department. I can get the month-over-month splits. I can then decide, do I want to add in the department splits for each month, or just keep the clear amounts for month over month. This data is also going to be downloadable. You can even export the whole dashboard, email that to other stakeholders or alias or external emails. And the last export, far and away the most popular, is the PowerPoint. So every report in this dashboard will then become its own slide. You can pick all of them. You can start from scratch and pick which ones you want. Maybe we don't want the FTE report, but we want everything else. We can do so. And then you'll have 6 different reports, each one of them their own slide to use in your presentation. And I'm going to hand it back to the rest of the team. I know we have about 5 minutes left.
Amazing, Sean. Thank you so much. That's great. And I love that that wasn't even everything, right? So hopefully that gives our audience a good kind of a little bit more than a tip of the iceberg, but we've also got payroll in there and career pathing and talent management. I mean, just so much packed into this platform. Just awesome stuff. Thanks for taking the time, Sean. And if you did like what you just saw, for our Mosaic customers only, we are offering some really great exclusive savings offers. If you are maybe thinking about upgrading your HR tech stack, if you're interested in consolidating your HR tech stack, or talking to your HR team about consolidating your HR tech stack onto the HiBob platform, we're offering some really exclusive savings here. Your CSM will be in touch shortly, or if you want to reach out to them first, please do so. But some really good offers coming your way. I think we have a really good chance of saving you a bunch of money if you choose to consolidate. So there's that too, which everybody loves. But if this is interesting, exciting, top of mind for you, we're definitely excited to continue this conversation with you and get you guys some good savings. So we'll be in touch on this shortly. And then with that, I'd just love to open it up to any questions from the audience.
Yeah, and I'll dive in. I know Sean just posted a response there, but within HiBob, and obviously from the Mosaic side, I've dealt with a lot of HR systems, and I've seen a lot of what's going on out in their market. HiBob truly is really impressive, and honestly, one of the reasons we thought the acquisition was great. But one of the things it does really well is on each employee profile, for a lot of the key sections, so work history, salary history, variable pay history, you can enter in, like, everything has an effective date. And so it's basically a history table of changes over time. And so every change that happens, someone changes departments, they change his title, maybe they change department title and they change compensation. All of those you can enter as effective dates. You can also enter historical data. So even if you just go down to HiBob now, obviously there's a process getting your data in. You can enter in historical data to clean it up. So it has a rich history of employee kind of data across the board, and all of that is now flowing into Bob Finance. So super excited about that.
Yeah, the only thing I would add on top of the transfers and promotions is that we've started to bake that into the compensation cycles as well, that you can run compensation and promotion cycles in parallel. Also the ability to do calibration around the performance cycles, managing that in a more fair and effective way. I know that if any of you are operating in the EU, that there's a lot of regulation now being enforced around pay transparency. So we are supporting a lot of that as well. So that is something to keep in mind as well.
All right, couple minutes left. Any final questions? Don't be shy. Okay, well, if you have any questions after the fact, if anything, hits you in the middle of the night, you can reach out to your customer success manager anytime. We will be sending you all an email with a recording of the session, as well as a way to follow up if you do have more questions or you're interested in learning about that special promotional offer that we're offering. Anything and everything under the sun, we'll be in touch. You'll hear from us if we don't hear from you first. And yeah, it's good to connect with everybody. Hope everybody's doing well, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.